Hey guys, and happy Thursday. Yeah, it is Thursday. I'm thinking about what day it is. I hope you're doing really well and you're having a good week so far. My week has been crazy. I launched my bumblebees last night, like the bumblebee prints of Be Kind, and the response has been incredible. Everyone has been so supportive, and over half the print run has sold out already. So yeah, it's going to be a very busy weekend of packaging orders and things like that, which I am so grateful for. And yeah, it's incredible. Really good. And anyway, I thought I would just come on here this morning because I know that I'm still blending. Like, I have been working on other things alongside Winnie, and I was going to launch something for Mother's Day, and I'm halfway through working on it, and I was going to sort of like do my first post about it tomorrow night. I've spent the morning working on it, and it's one of those pieces that I'm just not 100% into it. I don't know whether I'm going to carry on with it. I'm about, I would say, like 3 days in. So obviously, it's of like it's. I don't want to waste the time that I spent on it, because like, I'm happy with how it's going, but I just don't know whether it's really something that I love. And I only really like to produce and promote things that I really love myself, so I'm just not feeling it at the moment. Maybe I'll feel differently in sort of like a day or two time, but I just think, like, with the Be Kind prints and everything else that's going on, I don't want to keep, like, I get worried about like bombarding or like putting sales posts up, because that's not really what I want my business to be about. Obviously it's important for any artist or anyone in business to make money, but I don't want to be just like hounding people. Like, every time I post something it's like, oh, buy this, or I've just released this, you should buy this, kind of thing. So I stopped working on it, and I've decided to come back and work on Winnie for a bit. And because I find this whole blending really quite therapeutic, so I just thought maybe if I do this for a bit I will feel a little bit more settled, and I'll be able to figure out in my head whether I want to sort of carry on with the Mother's Day piece. If I do, then I will be launching it. Well, I was going to aim to launch it this weekend, but again, I'm pretty certain that maybe I'll launch it sort of later on in the year, and it won't be for Mother's Day. You know, sometimes this happens, and you know, not every single print release is super successful, and you know, sometimes things are sort of a slow burner or a lost leader and things like that, and that's absolutely fine, because at the end of the day, sort of, they add to the portfolio. But that said, I already put enough pressure on myself trying to like do YouTube or trying to film these videos and like do as much filming as I can at the moment, to kind of try and grow this little channel that I've got. Obviously I'm working on this for Charlotte, and I've now got well, probably by the weekend I'll have about over 100 orders to try and package. So I think if I try and get this this Mother's Day piece done, it's just going to be a little bit too much. So anyway, I'll stop rambling on about the that piece now because yeah, it's not going to be available for a while, if ever. And I will work on some other things. I've got a lot of other things that I want to do, and a lot of like other wildlife pieces which I've drawn out and are ready to go. So I think I will work on those further in the year, sort of later on in the year. But for now, like I have commission clients, so I've been sort of waiting for quite a while to get their commissions in, and for me to start working on them. So I'm thinking I'm just going to focus on them for now. Anyway, stop rambling. I hope you're all doing really well. It is super wet here again today. It's been raining all day. Well, then again, it is only midday. It's just about 12 o'clock. So, but I thought I would use this little opportunity to talk about blending with coloured pencils, because I know a lot of people use like colourless blenders. So like, I'm trying to think what it's called. It's I think it's Mona Lisa odorless blender, I want to say, is like quite a popular one. And I know a lot of people use a colourless blender, and don't get me wrong, I think when I first started I did use that because I didn't really realise there was any other ways to blend coloured pencil. But then as time went on, I quickly learned that it sort of, I found that it muddied the artwork and made it quite not as vibrant. Like the colours weren't as vibrant as what I wanted, and I just wasn't really keen on the overall look and sort of like the results. So I stopped using it, and I kind of had to teach myself how to blend without using a blender. And that's why I changed the paper, because before I was using like a very smooth Bristol board, which was only from like the local art store. So it was, I think it was, I can't think what the brand was, but it wasn't massively expensive. It was a very quite thin paper, thin compared to what I work with now. And yeah, I just wasn't really, I couldn't get that many layers, so I think using like an odorless blender was really important. So I then found this it's not Somerset Velvet, that's what I used to print on. I use Fabriano Artistico paper for my portrait work now, and I'm really, I love it, and I don't think I would ever use anything else. I think I'd like to try and use like a Bristol board, because I've seen a load of people use it and get like fab results. But it's one of those things, I'm a little bit scared or apprehensive to try anything new. So I think for now I will just stick to what I know. And plus, like, you get to know a paper, you get to know your pencils, and you get to know your medium pretty well if you do it sort of, if you draw as often as I do, then you kind of know how things work. So yeah, I guess the argument is, why change something that works? But anyway, I thought, because I get a lot of people who ask me about technique and things like that, and being completely honest, I think as I said this in like my previous video that I uploaded the other day, I am very I'm not very good at explaining, so I'll do my best. But this is brand new territory for me. So I normally, as I said before, I put a base layer down using sort of like the lightest colour I have, and then I go in with the darker colours to layer. So obviously, like with paint on stuff, you can work dark to light, whereas with coloured pencils you are always having to work from light to dark. So you kind of put your highlights in first and then you work up around that. But doing this bit of leather is so different to how I usually work, because it is very smooth, and I'm not used to drawing anything this smooth. So I mean, I've seen some brilliant like artists who work in colour pencils who like can render and blend so well with colour pencils, and that is like goals, absolute goals, because I don't think I'm really there yet. But then again, this is like my first attempt, so I thought I'd like walk you through the process and how I am blending out the pencils. So as I said, I start off with the lightest colours. So I'm finding that for these for this blending work, the best pencil range for me to use is the Caran d'Ache Luminance, because they're quite soft, and the cores are quite well, they're just quite buttery and they're quite smooth, but the only trouble is with the Caran d'Ache Luminance and anything to do with Caran d'Ache is that it's really pricey compared to like the Faber-Castell Polychromos. So you're looking at sort of like double the price for a pencil, which is expensive. It is expensive to invest in a full set of these. So I think if anyone is looking sort of like to start with their colour pencil journey, I would recommend Faber-Castell Polychromos 100%, because you can get a lot of beautiful, very good techniques and skills down with those before you sort of try and spend more money to get the more expensive pencils, because you know these are expensive. But that said, for blending they are brilliant. Now I know a lot of people use Prismacolor for blending too, because again they are very, very soft and silky pencils. I've never tried Prismacolor because we can't easily get them here in the UK, and I've had very, very mixed reviews, so I've never bothered to like invest money and spend money and get them sent over or buy them from Amazon. I did contemplate it for doing this and like for some other work that I want to do, but I just don't know. I don't want it, because I think like a full set of Prismacolor is not massively expensive. I think it's about £120 maybe, which is obviously a lot of money, but when it's my full-time job, obviously I have to invest in equipment, so and materials and things like that. So I was seriously contemplating sort of getting the Prismacolors, but I think all the time I can make what I've got work, then I will continue to do that. So anyway, I'm really bad, aren't I? I'm going to go off track really, really easily, so I apologise. But so I think the best thing to do with colour pencils, and like this piece is a massive learning curve for me because I've never blended like a smooth surface before, so I'm kind of learning as I go. So I thought that's why I thought it'd be quite fun to sort of like talk to you about it and compare like to what I normally do, because normally, as I said, I put a layer of like colour pencil down, I sort of like flatten the teeth of the set and the teeth of the paper out, and then go in with sort of a very sharp point, and then build up the layers that way, sort of working from the lighter colours to the darker colours to like sort of the very dark colours towards the end. But obviously I'm not doing that with this piece because there's no fur and it's very soft. It's not like a very smooth surface, so it's a completely different technique, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. I've kind of watched some people on YouTube who, you know, are very, very good at blending, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll learn something, pick up something from them. But the way I'm finding it, as I said, using like the Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils, I'm sort of putting a layer like this down, so I'm not pressing massively hard with it. I'm sort of just going almost in with the side of the pencil to cover as much surface as possible. Like this. And then I will pick up, maybe I do put a little bit more pressure and try and blend it as I go, maybe. And then I kind of, obviously it's really important to keep looking at your reference photo, and then so you sort of know what colours roughly to work with. And don't forget, like, you can, obviously if you press quite lightly, then you can blend the colours onto the paper. So like, just because if you don't have like the precise colour that you need for one certain area, then obviously the best thing to do is blend it. And I often find that if you try and make hang on, how do I explain this? If you try and use the exact colour that you're trying to that you see down on your reference photo, and you just put like a very hard layer of that down and then try and blend it out, it won't look very... Ooh, there's another bumblebee order. So I often find that I've lost my trail of thought now. Yeah, it just won't look real. It won't look realistic because you won't be able to blend it out, and it'll look very blocky, and that's the worst thing for you to do with art. So the best thing, I mean, it takes a long time to blend, but it's the way you get the most realistic results, I think, anyway. So like this, I mean, I could completely go really hard, and with this, because this is a very similar colour to what I see down in a reference photo, but if I was to do that, it would just look like a block, and it wouldn't look very blended. So again, as I keep saying, colour pencils are a very, very long process, but you can get sort of very as realistic results as you can. So obviously, as you can see, like, I'm sort of layering it up, blending it out, and then once I'm happy with like the coverage of how much pigment and stuff I've got down onto the paper, which I'm not happy with it yet, so I'm going to have to keep blending because there is quite a lot of like white space almost, so you can still see a lot of the teeth of the paper come through, whereas obviously down here, I don't even see it, but hopefully you can, it's a lot smoother, whereas obviously up here I've still got quite a lot of teeth of paper showing through. So I love this because I honestly don't think I actually know what I'm talking about, but a lot of you seem to think that, you know, I can help you, which I hope that I can help you, but it's a little bit funny, it's a little bit surreal really, that I'm so grateful that people like comment and leave lovely messages and stuff like that, because it does like encourage me to keep going with this little YouTube thing where I just talk to myself. Like now, I don't know, I find it really, really bizarre. You know, they always say the first line of madness is like talking to yourself, but I guess I'm talking to you, but I'm talking through a camera, and I don't know, it's all very bizarre. Anyway, so I think another important thing to do is don't just keep your pencil marks going in the same direction, so don't keep like going like this. Obviously when you're drawing fur, it's very important to keep your pencils going in the direction of the fur, whereas if you're trying to blend and render, then, you know, almost circular movements to sort of cover as much of the surface as you can in one hit. So yeah, I think once as I said, once you kind of get to the stage where you're happy with the coverage of like how much pigment is down on the paper, then you can go in with like your highlight. Now again, I don't do this when it comes to drawing fur, and this is just something that I'm finding that's working through trial and error on this piece. But if you can go in with sort of like a lighter colour towards the end and almost burnish the surface of the paper, so make it as silky smooth as you possibly can. I'm hoping to sit down and film an actual video where I talk to the camera soon as well, because I feel like a lot of people have a lot of questions that they want to ask me, and you know, about running the business, commissions, and how to set up a business like this. So, and I don't think it's really something that I can talk about when I'm working, so I think that I'm gonna have to make myself look presentable at least for one day, and sit down and film the videos that you want to see, and then I can just, like, if I make like a day where I just film content, and then I can just release it as and when onto the channel. But I can't believe it, guys, like I've got, like, I think it's over 1,000 of you now, which is nuts. Like, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for joining me, because I honestly, half the time, don't think I know what I'm talking about. But and I think it's one of those things, like, it's like imposter syndrome, I think, is that what it's called, where you just don't think that it's not like you don't deserve to be doing this, but I just kind of think, oh, I just stay at home and draw, but all of a sudden, like, people are really interested in the way that I draw. So if I can help at least like one of you get a bit more confident with your pencil work, then that's great, then I'm really all about that. So I mean, okay, I'm kind of going against what I said a minute ago here, because this isn't the lightest colour that I could use, but I feel that it might work. So a lot of the time with colour pencil, I find that it's a bit trial and error. So you, as I said, you can kind of, if you work quite lightly, you can blend as you go, and you can kind of almost create your palette on paper, as if you were sort of working with paint, which obviously we're not, but anyway, I haven't finished. I find like working like this, I'm jumping around quite a bit. Normally I kind of finish one bit very precisely and then move on, but working like this, I'm kind of just jumping around quite a lot, which again, yeah, isn't the way that I usually work, but I think I would like to try and do, or I don't know whether I have the pencil I need for this. Maybe I can use this one, this might work. I get worried that it might look a little bit muddy because it's quite yellow as what on the reference photo. But I think one thing to keep in mind, and one thing that I have to remind myself quite a lot, is that your reference photo is a point of reference. You can never fully achieve sort of like the same colours and things like that in the reference photo. The biggest thing with art, I think anyway, is creating your tones and your values. And if you get sort of your darks as dark as they need to be and the sort of like things as light as they need to be too, then the colours, as long as they're pretty accurate, they don't have to be completely bang on. Obviously you can't get them way out, but yeah, it's not the be all and the end all to try and match your colours completely. I can't believe it, this is like the sixth video I filmed in like a week. It's mad. But I really enjoy it because I was talking to my friend about this the other day when I saw her. I found ever since I've become an artist, or that especially in the last, maybe it's just over winter to be honest, I don't know. But I find it really, obviously we've spoken about this before, but like anti-sociable, and I really struggle to talk to people. Sometimes, like if I don't get out very often and I have to, like last week for example, I had to go and have a meeting, and I found it really hard to like articulate what I was trying to say properly, which is a bit crazy because before I became an artist, for those of you who don't know, I used to work in the motor trade, so I used to work at Mercedes, and I had to be like super on the ball there, on top of my game, and you know, wearing very corporate things and dealing with businessmen all the time, and you know, I had to hold my own. And when I took this job up and then sort of I decided to become an artist, I kind of lost a lot of that. I was trying to think of the right word. I wouldn't say sass, because I wasn't like overly sassy, but I definitely could hold my own a lot more and a lot better than what I do now. But it's one of those things that yeah, I just find that if I don't talk to people that often, I kind of lose the ability to be really sociable. And like, I've never been really good at small talk, so that's why I think talking to a camera is a little bit disconcerting. Like, I find it easier to talk to you guys when I'm working, rather than like when I film a video and do a time lapse. I find it very difficult to like talk into my phone after I've recorded the whole video and like edited it and stuff like that. I find it really hard to like tell you how I'm feeling, or like what I want to say in the message or in the video, whereas with this I find it almost a little bit easier because I can sort of not really think about what I'm saying so much, because I can just draw, and and that kind of relaxes me. Whereas I think that sometimes if I know that I've got to film or like record a voiceover and it's got to be about 10 minutes long or whatever, I kind of get a bit stressed about what I'm gonna say. I guess it's like the same. I've heard people say that it's the same, like if they vlog, then they can be super casual, whereas if they film and sit down like a proper video like that, I think it's gonna be I want to be like super coherent and super to the point. It's a lot more stressful, and I think it's true with this. Like if I want to sit down and film a video, I'll get a lot more nervous and anxious than I would when I just film a video about me layering pencils. I feel that this video is very similar to the last one, so I hope you don't mind that, but I thought it'd be a nice idea to come on here and then just explain to you a little bit about my process, because I'm still trying to figure it out. I know like people have asked me before, and I think someone commented the other day about me that they wanted me to talk about the way I found my style. Now, I don't really think I have a style, and I know a lot of people who do pet portraits feel the same, because arguably we're just producing like what pet owners want us to, or like what, like anyone who does realism, I wouldn't say we're fraudulent. I think I'm gonna get slammed for saying that, because I don't think that's like strictly true. However, I do think that sometimes it's not the hardest thing to do, because we don't have to think about what we're going to draw. We kind of get given it to us, so I guess that makes it a little bit easier. And therefore, like, I don't think it would be fair for me to say I have a style. I just know what mediums work for me, and I know how I like to work with them, and I think that's sort of like where it ends for me. But this piece is definitely taking so long. Like, I wanted to have it, okay, admittedly, like when I started filming, I was telling you about the Mother's Day piece, but like, and I set aside some time to do that, but I kind of never envisioned this piece would take me this long. Blending like this is really, really time consuming, but I'm hoping it's going to be really worth it in the long run. And you know, I'll go and see the team GB, like the dressage team with Carl and Charlotte and things like that, when this piece is done, and I'm hoping it's just going to get a really good response. So I think hopefully all the time will be worth it, and it's allowing me to sort of sit down and make quite a lot of content for you guys as well, so I'm guessing that's good, as long as like you guys don't mind that it is sort of like the similar blending and sort of like same technique as the last video. But I thought that I would come on here, as I said, and just like try and explain it a little bit more. And a lot of you have also found it like really nice to have the ability to sort of like just draw with me in the background, which is really nice. I'm glad that I can keep some of you company, and yeah, I just think it's a nice thing for me to do, because as I said, being an artist is pretty lonely. So if I can keep one or two of you company whilst you draw, then I'm a happy girl. So obviously when you do anything like blending like this, then you do have to pay particular attention to where the shadows and stuff are. I'm just trying to find the right pencil here. I'm finding at the moment I need to get some new pencil extenders. Now I use the ones from Derwent, which look like this. You have to excuse, like, I've got a bruise on my thumb and it's growing out, but it's really annoying, so I dropped like a weight on it in the gym. Anyway, I use these like pencil extenders from Derwent, and they're great, but you only get two. No, you get two in a pack. I think you do. So I need to get some more, but I think I can only order them from Amazon. Anyway, I'm thinking as well, about uploading a video about the whole packaging process for the bees, because as I said, there's probably going to be, if the entire print run sells as quickly as, you know, the second half of the print run sell as quickly as the first half did, then the prints will probably all be sold by the weekend. And then I thought, I didn't know whether you guys might like to see like the full start to finish packaging, like from when the order comes in to how I process it and how I print things, and obviously how I mount them. And I know I've touched on it before in a little video, but I thought it'd be nice to maybe do it all in one, and then you can sort of see the orders as they go out, because I know I enjoy, a bit weird, but I quite enjoy watching packaging vlogs and people who are like owning their business. So yeah, I think I might do that. So if it's something that you would like to see, then let me know. Packaging for me is a bit of a love-hate relationship, really. Sometimes I get really like keen on it and I love doing it, and then other times I find it quite where's that pencil gone? There. Other times I find it quite stressful, because everything's got to be like properly quality controlled and QC'd and everything like that, and which is fine, but it's just a very long process. So for me to sell all these bees, it's probably going to take me the whole weekend to get the orders out, which isn't a problem because I don't really do much at the weekends at the moment because the weather here is so crap. But it's more about like the stress that it causes, because everything has to go, you know, I have like an international pile and I have a UK pile, and the international, they don't get packaged any different, but because the international ones are going further, I don't know, I like to keep them separate, and everything has like these, I've got these little plastic corners that I ordered from a packaging store online, which help try not to let things get damaged, because my biggest fear is things getting damaged in transit, because there's nothing that I can do about it. And like the worst thing in the world is knowing that I've spent so much time and effort packaging up the prints as best as I can, and then like the couriers have just come in and just like completely destroyed all the good work that I've put in, and it doesn't make me look good, so like as a business. So yeah, my biggest fear is that. So I try and like package things in the best way I possibly can. So I mean, it can take me hours and hours just to package a few orders, because I am really anal about it. I've been contemplating maybe trying to hire someone to come in and give me a hand for like the busy periods, but like Black Friday and things like that, but I don't know at the moment. It's food for thought, and it's something that I am sort of like debating and seeing whether it's going to be worthwhile, because I think there will be a stage where I'm going to need to sort of take someone on to come and give me a hand with sort of like social media and like marketing and emails and admin and accounts and stuff like that, because obviously it is only me who does most of this stuff, apart from when my parents step in and help. So it would just be nice to, you know, have someone else who can do what I do, and maybe like if they could like edit YouTube videos and stuff like that, then that'd be really cool as well. But anyway, I think I'm a long way off that yet. I think I've got to try and keep going like I am, and seeing how the next few months go really, and trying to keep as motivated and productive and things like that as I can, and then go from there, and then see sort of like what this year brings, because it should be a really good year. As I said, I've got lots and lots of things happening, which I'm really excited to share with you. I'm just waiting for some people to get back to me about some stuff, and then hopefully I'll be able to share a little bit more with you. But anyway, I am trying to work on this little bit. And my battery is going flat at the moment, so I'm just gonna like do this little bit of burnishing, maybe like here. So when I burnish, I kind of just go almost like on the side of the pencil, hold it sort of like towards the end. Don't really see that, hopefully you can see that. Hold it towards the end and then sort of like just try and smooth the paper over, and sort of just get rid of any like the tooth of the paper, so none of it is obvious and none of it is evident. I think, oh, it's the postman. And I sort of go in with several different colours to burnish over the top. So maybe like this piece is like this bit here is a bit more yellow, so I've gone in with like a yellow. Well, it's not really yellow, is it? It's like a peachy kind of. Actually, the official colour is brown ochre, but it's like a yellowy sort of sandy beige colour. So I kind of just go in and press a little bit harder and try and get rid of some of the tooth of the paper that's showing through. And then like the best thing about working with like watercolor paper like this is that it takes so many layers. I get the thickest paper that I ever could possibly buy. I think it's like it's like 640 GSM. Like it's so thick and it's so heavy. It's amazing. I love it. But anyway, I will probably, because I've rambled now for another like 45 minutes, which wow, at least I hope I can keep some of you company while we're working, keep some of you accountable and things like that. But yeah, I don't think there was anything really I wanted to say. I know I was meant to come on here and like try and explain how I blend with coloured pencils. Don't really know whether I've done that or not. But I really enjoy making these, and I really enjoy like talking to you guys and like getting to know more about you and like reading your comments and stuff. So yeah, as long as you don't mind like watching, then that's all good. And I guess if you did mind watching, then you wouldn't watch it, would you? So if any of you are still here, then I appreciate you. As I always say, like I appreciate you so much, more than I think you'll ever know. And I am so grateful that you are here with me on this crazy little journey of being an artist, because it's not the easiest, but it's very rewarding. So I am gonna be drawing now for a little bit, and I've got to wait for my framers to contact me and let me know sort of whereabouts they are with cutting mounts for the bumblebees, and then I will probably have to charge my battery, change over my memory card, film a little bit more, because I'm trying to put this whole drawing into a time lapse as well. And then a bit later on I'll go to the gym, because I've got my favourite gym class tonight, and then I will be packaging orders and printing out bumblebees and starting to process them. So I'm guessing I will film, as I said, try and film some of that. So if that's something you would like to see, then please do let me know. And I hope you have a very lovely Thursday, or whatever day it is whenever you're watching this. And I will see you in my next one. But okay, alright, I'll see you later. Lots of love, bye!